Sales reps have it rough. Besides the endless slog of cold outreach, when you do actually connect with a buyer, you've got to suck up to them. You've got to smile, dance, give in, do anything to win the deal. But what most sales reps don't realize is that there's a better way of getting what you want from your selling conversations. And best of all, it doesn't require you to leave your dignity at the door. Hi, my name is Will and I make selling simple. Okay, so today we're going to be dealing with one of the biggest issues in the sales industry today, and that is a lack of assertiveness. We're going to cover why assertiveness is a must. It's seriously essential and how to make it happen in sales. And we're going to be covering the 5 key benefits of being a more assertive sales rep. Then we're going to look at the assertiveness training framework. This framework is straight out of Selling Made Simple Academy, and it's made up of 6 separate steps, including excuses and why you need to stop providing them. Then choice, the fact that you've got a right to not solve other people's problems if you don't want to. There's real power in saying no. Then change, because believe it or not, you're allowed to change your mind. Then mistakes and why you're allowed to make them in your B2B sales role as long as you take responsibility. Then we're going to look at this sentence, I don't know, and why this simple phrase isn't just disarming, it's also exceptionally good at building rapport. And finally, we're going to cover the phrase, I don't care. Now, you might bristle over the thought of ever saying this to any of your prospects or customers, but when you learn how to do it properly, you're going to be amazed at the autonomy and respect that it can bring. Okay, so enough with the outlining, let's get into the good stuff. And we've all heard this saying, the customer is always right. And unfortunately, a lot of salespeople have moved through their entire careers believing that that was true. This has led to the stereotype of the salesperson who charms, who kowtows, and believes that buyers smiling is 100% of what helps them kill it day in, day out in their sales role. But what would you say if I told you that this age-old rule was, are you ready for this? Bull. Complete and utter bull. It's just plain wrong, and bending to a buyer's will in every single conversation is a surefire way to muck up your sales process. Instead, the trick is to be what we call assertive. And if you're one of the many professionals out there that isn't as assertive as what they could be, as they should be, never fear, because in this video, we're going to look at how to become more assertive in 6 simple steps. But why is assertiveness such a must in sales? Well, there are 5 main benefits to becoming assertive in our industry. First off, it's going to help you close more deals. That's what we're all here for. That's what I'm here to help you do. That's what I'm doing inside Selling Made Simple Academy when I'm selling our service and training to the enterprise as well. Because if you're not assertive and you don't ask for the sale, you're not going to get the sale. When you lack assertiveness, you lack the confidence you need to push through any awkward yet entirely necessary stages of closing a deal. But as you become more assertive, you're going to find yourself closing more deals more often and making more money. Next, when you become more assertive, it gives you more authority. And the more authoritative you appear in front of your prospects, the more likely they're going to listen to you and they value your opinion and look to you as a trusted expert. This helps you get more calls in the diary and you're going to get ghosted far less as well. The more assertive you become, usually the better your communication comes as well. For a lot of salespeople, tiptoeing around issues might seem like a good way to soften the blow of any bad news and keep on your buyer's good side. But in B2B sales especially, being clear and to the point is a far better way to communicate with your prospects. Your buyers are going to appreciate you saying outright what you think and being assertive with them. And finally, last but not least, assertiveness leads to higher levels of self-esteem. That in turn leads to greater job satisfaction, a higher earning potential for us B2B salespeople, and of course a happier, healthier home life as well, because you're going to be rolling in cash. Now I hear you saying as you watch this video, okay, well, I get it. Assertiveness in sales is important, but how do I become more assertive? How do I implement this practically day in, day out? Well, we're going to do that with the Becoming Assertive framework from inside Selling Made Simple Academy. If you want to learn more about Selling Made Simple Academy, just click the link below this video. So there are 6 steps to this framework, and we're going to run through each one of these quickly for the rest of this video. So first off, excuses. And you've got an assertive right for each one of these steps. This assertive right is you've got the right to offer no reasons or excuses for your behavior. Now, you might be tempted to give an excuse for your actions or beliefs in the workplace, but doing so takes control of the sales process and your own career out of your own hands. Instead, get used, and this is going to sound slightly weird and maybe counterintuitive, but it's so important. Instead, get used to not giving excuses for your beliefs, your actions, or your decisions at work. Now, of course, don't get me wrong here. You still need to take responsibility if you screw up, if you get something wrong, if you lose a customer, if you screw over a customer and they leave you for whatever reason. You've got to take ownership and apologize. But if you're being pressed by a sales leader, sales manager, a prospect, or a customer to say sorry for something that you were in the right for doing in the first place, don't offer up any excuses. You shouldn't offer up any excuses. If you feel like something is the right thing to do, go and do it. Take the praise when it comes, take any criticism when it comes, but don't feel like you need to explain your decisions. Next up, your next assertive right is you have the right to choose if you want to find solutions for other people's problems. And you need to learn how to say a big, fat, resounding no to solving most of the problems that come your way in your sales role. You are ultimately responsible for your own psychological well-being, your happiness, and your success in life. And as much as we might want to do things for other people, especially at work, maybe we like our colleagues, maybe we don't like them, well, we're not responsible for other people and other people's problems. Your goal at sales, at work, same as mine, is to drive revenue, understand the market, get in front of prospects, communicate the value, and then become the person that can implement all this. That's all you have to do over and over every single day. So when your sales manager comes to you one afternoon and asks you to stay late to go over the CRM data that they need to submit to their boss, say no. It's your assertive right to choose if you want to find solutions to other people's problems. Focus on driving revenue because that's what you're getting paid for. That's what you're getting a percentage of commissions on. And that is what's going to allow you to retire early, buy fast cars, support your family, whatever it is that you're aiming towards. Don't focus on other people's problems if you don't want to. Now, if you want to do that, great. But remember, when you say yes to one thing, you're inherently saying no to another. So to master this step, you've got to be comfortable with saying no more often. And to build this skill up, just start saying no more often. It's literally as easy as that. I wish it was more complicated. The more you say no, 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 you're going to find people asking you to do random crap that doesn't progress your career less and less. The next assertive right that you have is the right to change your mind. Because we don't have access to all of the evidence all of the time. And when new evidence comes to light, it's natural, it's beneficial to change your mind in light of that new evidence. And this is especially important in a fast-paced business environment like modern B2B sales. Your variables, the marketplace, your customers are going to change all of the time. And what was a complete given about a deal, a lead 5 weeks ago, 2 days ago, 5 hours ago, will often flip and it's going to turn what we thought we knew was true on its head. So, if you're rigid about your responses to change in the marketplace, your customers, your sales quota, whatever it is, you're not going to be able to react as quick as you possibly otherwise could. That's going to lead to blown contracts, angry prospects, and poor performance overall. So be comfortable, be happy to change your mind whenever you want. Your buyer might even respect you more for it. Your fourth assertive right, what I want you to focus on, is that you've got the right to make mistakes. Big mistakes, small mistakes, you've got the right to make them because nobody is perfect. And no matter how smart, skilled, charismatic you may be, you're going to make mistakes. We all do it, right? And it's important to remember that everyone else is in the same boat. Everybody, every single person on this planet, all of us make mistakes. And since everybody does this, you shouldn't have to feel like you need to hide them or manipulate the fact that you screwed up. It's your assertive right to make those mistakes and not tear yourself down or let your boss, management, or prospect tear you down because of them. You're not uniquely terrible or especially flawed if you screw up. And in fact, making mistakes is often the only way that you're going to learn in sales. You've got to take action. You've got to try things. You've got to test things, whether it's your prospecting, your outreach, your messaging, how you pitch customers. You've got to test all this stuff. And so if you aren't making mistakes, you're probably not trying hard enough to grow right now. The next way to become more assertive is to understand that you have the right to say, I do not know. I'm going to say it again. Say, I do not know more often than you care for, right? Say it without embarrassment. This is one huge step for a lot of salespeople. A lot of salespeople have their egos wrapped up in how good they are at selling their product, their service. Don't worry about it. And this is especially important for salespeople that work with a particularly technical product or service, like what I used to do when I was selling medical devices. Because, well, despite what the public thinks, sales is not about lying and bullshitting. It's not about trickery or comms. Instead, it's about problem solving. And if you're not providing the right information, your solution is not going to fix issues that your buyers have. You're going to have low satisfaction from your product or service, damaged trust, zero loyalty. It goes on and on and on. If you don't know the answer to a question when your prospect asks you, say, hey, I don't know, but someone internally will know, and I can ask them and find out for you. That's it. It's actually better to say you don't know the answer to a complex question. If it's a specific product detail, don't fudge the numbers. Instead, just go, hey, I don't know, and I'll find out for you. If it's a completely unrelated question to the sales process that you're going through with the buyer, don't be afraid to say, hey, sorry, man, I don't know. And then just shut up and let them put the conversation back on track. Because just because a prospect asked a question, it doesn't mean that you have to either answer it or know the answer, especially if the question was just downright stupid to begin with. Think about it like this. If you asked a powerful figure a dumb question, do you think that they would answer it, or would they just stare you right in the face until you fell back into your own shell and was like, oh, okay, that was stupid, and you ask a different question or you move on to something else? The final step to becoming more assertive in your B2B sales role is to understand you've got the right to say, I don't care. Your needs, your interests, your goals are your own. And just because someone else is worried about an issue or they have their own goal, it doesn't mean that you've got to be interested in that issue or goal yourself. You find this in sales teams all the time. Random people within the team or opposing teams or your leadership, whoever it is, will tell you how you can become more efficient or why you should become more of a team player. But when it comes down to it, your sales target is based on your actions. For most people, your actions and your actions alone. So don't feel forced to care about the stresses, the accomplishments, or the methodologies of other people around you. Now, if you're missing out on some real benefits from collaboration, fine. Join in, listen to people, take on board their advice. But if they're trying to feign interest in team building for a more harmonious sales team, don't feel like you should be obligated to care. In fact, proactively say, and maybe you've got to say it politely if it's a sales leader that you're engaging with, but say, hey, I don't care. Or, hey, sorry, this isn't a good fit for me. Hey, I cannot spend the next 2 weekends of my life unpaid at this team building exercise. I just don't care. I've got other things to do. Be assertive, be clear as you run through each one of these steps that we've covered in the video, and you're going to see your assertiveness both in and out of work dramatically increase. So there we have it. If you enjoyed this video, why not click the video that's on the screen right now and continue making selling simple.